So we are discussing, we are in the 47th anuccheda of the Bhagavad Sandarbha. This anuccheda is little long. I'll just go through the part which we went through last time. The 47th anuccheda. We are in 47.2, 47.3. So in this particular part of the anuccheda, Jiva Goswami says that Bhagavan's names are also transcendental. He established the birth and activities of Bhagavan are transcendental. And after having established that, Bhagavan's names are also transcendental. That is the theme of this Anucheda. We discussed some part of it, but I'll go through that and then we'll go ahead. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll go through the distinct nature of Bhagavan's name is that while imperceptible to the speech and mind, it is self-manifest. This is stated in the Vasudeva Adhyatma. Because his qualities are unknown to people, he is said to have no name. So sometimes in the scriptures, Bhagavan is described as having anama. So, but he is described as anama because the transcendental nature of the Lord's name is unknown. Not that he does not have any. Anama literally means nameless. But he is described like that not because he does not have a name, but because the transcendental nature of the name is unknown. Or he is described as arupa because his form is not made of the material elements. So there is also another verse in the Vishnu Puran which says that the Lord's names, forms, and activities are incomprehensible. O Lord, Brahman, the eternal, immutable, and unborn absolute is that in which conceptualizations of name, class, and so on do not exist. You are that Brahman, but without such conceptualization, nothing can be ascertained, and so you are worshipped by names such as Krishna, Achyuta, Ananda, and Vishnu. So Bhagavan is called as unborn or immutable, eternal. In the Bhagavan, the conceptualizations of the name class, the material name, material class, they do not exist. And these two verses may appear to contradict the Vishnu Purana verse quoted previously, in which it is mentioned that Bhagavan is called as Anama and Arupa. At first glance, the use of the word Kalpana in the Vishnu Puran verse seems futile, since the speaker's intent would be sufficiently clear simply by stating name, class, and so on do not exist within you. But on closer inspection, however, this word is highly significant, as will be shown, since it is not that the Lord is devoid of name, class, and so on, but rather his name, class, are self-existent and hence prior to conceptualization. It is for this reason that his name is imperceptible to mind and speech. So at the time of the Srishti, after the Srishti, all forms of conceptualizations of the name, class, and the forms, they all began at the time of Srishti. But because Bhagavan existed, or Bhagavan is eternal, he existed even before Srishti, therefore it is said that all such conceptualizations of name, class, etc., which are pertaining to the material objects and material bodies and forms, these things do not exist in the Supreme Lord. It is not because that he does not have any form, name, etc., but because he existed even before the conceptualizations, even before creation. Moreover, the words Brahma, words like Brahma and Aja are acknowledged as names that establish the subject as transcendental. So the word Brahma and Aja, referring to the absolute truth, these names are there in order to show that he is transcendental. So we'll read from the statement. You can see in the Devanagari, this one. Ajam Yekam Lohita Shukla Krishnam. This verse is quoted from the Shvetasvatara Upanishad. Ityadishu Ajayamanatva Lakshana Jatischa Drishyata Eva. So in these statements such as Ajam Yekam Lohita Shukla Krishnam, Ajam refers to a goat. Ajam Yekam, there is a single goat. Lohita Shukla Krishnam, Lohita, red, white and blue, black in hue. See, in statement such as this statement, the Vedas of the Upanishad, that specific class characterized as pertaining to the state of birthlessness is also indicated. Since, as already noted, the word Aja means both a goat and unborn. Hence, the statement could be rendered, there is one unborn. So, Ajam Yekam, Aja can refer to a goat. Ajagala Nyaya, like that, there is one Nyaya also for goats. Aja can refer to the goat, Aja can refer to the unborn. So, one meaning if we say there is single goat, red, white, and black and blue. So, that specific class, so when we say it means that there are goats in red color, white color and black color. But when we take the word Aja as unborn, that means it is pertaining to the state of birthlessness. But what is the other further? Let us read ahead. Tata namadi kalpana na vidyante ityuktva swayam krishnadi nama kalpanoktir viruddha syat kalpanaya va katam idyata syat kalpanaya अनियतत्वाच्च कथम कृष्णादि नाम कथम कृष्णादि नामना नामनयत्यमुच्यते नामनयत्यमुच्यते. The translation. Additionally, the statement that there is no conceptualization of name and so on in the Supreme Lord is apparently contradicted by the one that follows it, stating that he has names such as Krishna and Achyuta. If these are Kalpana, how can he be worshipped by them? So though constructs or Kalpanas are unstable and impermanent, so how can names like Krishna be said to be eternal? So it was said that Bhagavan's name, form, etc., they do not actually belong to the normal conceptualizations of name, class, etc. At the same time, it was mentioned that the same Vishnu Puran verse that Bhagavan is worshipped by names such as Krishna, Achyuta, Ananta, and Vishnu. Hmm. So then, if the Bhagavans actually, if Bhagavan, all conceptualizations do not exist in the Supreme Lord. At the same time, he is worshipped by names such as Krishna, Achyuta, Ananta, and Vishnu. Then one may say that there is apparent contradiction here. So he has names such as Achyuta and Krishna. So then one may say that, okay, that means these names are basically kalpanic names. These are imaginary names. But if they are imaginary names, how can he be worshipped by the imaginary names? Because those which are imaginary things, they are unstable, they are impermanent. So how can names like Krishna be said to be eternal? So that is the point we are. Tata kalpanaya va katam idyata syat kalpanaya aniyatatvacha katam krishnadi namana iyam iti muchyate ityayam muchyate. Then further he says that tasman nama karma swarupani iti ayam anusaracha ayam artha yata yatra nama jatyadinam namani krishnadini jatayo devatva manushyatva kshatriyatwadi leelas tadadinam kalpana na vidyate. So in accordance with the meaning of the verse cited earlier, the Vishnu Puran verse, that means Vishnu's names, forms, and activities are incomprehensible. In accordance with this meaning, the Vishnu Puran statement should be understood as follows. The eternal absolute truth is that person in whom conceptualizations of names, forms, and so on do not exist. The word Nama refers to Krishna and other such names. Thus, there is no conceptualization in regard to the name Krishna indicates that it exists prior to the act of naming or mental assignation. The word Jati refers to Krishna's Leela of appearance within the classifications of gods, humans, or warrior kings. That there is no Kalpana in regard to Krishna's Leela of appearance within these classes indicates that his existence transcends all such categorization. And the word Adi and so on means everything else in regard to him. So conceptualizations do not exist in regard to his names, the classes within which he appears, or anything else in relation to him. Rather, it is understood that all of these are simply manifestations of the eternal potency of his essential nature, as indicated in the following verse discussed earlier in the anuccheda. So, what we can understand in this like this elaborate, more explanatory translation with a commentary also. So, the Vishnu Puran verse stated that all such conceptualizations of this object belonging to this class, this object belongs to this jati, this object has this name. Such conceptualizations do not exist in the Supreme Lord. This statement was there. At the same time, it is also mentioned that Bhagavan is worshipped by names such as Krishna, Achyuta, Ananta, etc. So, but he cannot be conceived with any particular name. He cannot be put in any particular class. He cannot be said to be having any particular name or quality. This one. At the same time, the Shastras say that he has these names. So how do we reconcile? So Jiva Goswami says that that means these names are eternal. These names existed even before the Srishti, even before because at the time of the Srishti, the conceptualizations start. Conceptualization means putting some particular object. Oh, this belongs to dog category. This belongs to the particular variety of dog called as Alsatian. This belongs to a horse category. Like that, we classify into different this thing. But these things do not exist in the Supreme Lord. At the same time, he has certain names, Krishna, Achyuta, Ananta. That means these names are actually existing eternally even before conceptualizations. And his qualities and his activities, they also transcend. They transcend the three modes. They are eternal. That's what the jati refers to Krishna's leela of appearance within the classification of gods, humans, or warrior kings. There is no kalpana in regards to Krishna's leela of appearance, indicates that his existence transcends all such categorization. And the word adi means anything else in regard to him. That means all of these, whether it is Krishna's name or whether it is Krishna's leela or Krishna's qualities, they are simply manifestations of the eternal potency of his essential nature. They are not manifestations of the material nature. And this is confirmed in the another shloka from the Bhagavatam, which was quoted earlier. This is from 10.37.23. Let's read that shloka. Vishuddha Vijnana Ganam Swasamstaya Samapta Sarvartam Amoga Vanchitam Swatejasa Nitya Nivrita Maya Guna Pravaham Bhagavantam Imahi. I think the prayers offered by Akrura to Krishna. But from this shloka, Jiva Goswami is quoting the first two words, Vishuddha Vijnana Ganam Swasamstaya. The meaning of the shloka is that we approach the Supreme Lord who is Vishuddha Vijnana Ganam, who is pure consciousness personified, whose goals are automatically accomplished by virtue of his being situated in his own existence, whose desires are always fulfilled, and by whose prowess the flow of the three gunas of Maya is ever dispelled from him. So this verse is quoted by Jiva Goswami. So Swasamstaya Samapta Sarvartam Ityuktadisha Swarupa Siddha Nitya Shakti Vilasa Rupanyeva Tani Ityartaha. So by this shloka, how all these are manifestations of the eternal potency of his essential nature is actually proved by this particular shloka 10.37.23. Anybody has any questions? Anything unclear?
Prabhuji, when we refer to goat Aja, how this significant here? Was it anywhere connected to his name and other his transcendental this thing? Or that just yeah, Aja means another meaning of goat? So at that context, I am not getting.
Ajamekam Lokita Shukla Krishna.
Hmm.
One second. In statements such as Ajam Ekam, Lokita Shukla Krishna, a specific class characterized as pertaining to the state of birthlessness. Hmm. See, Ajam Ekam Lokita Shukla Krishna. Actually, in the Upanishad verse, the word Ajay does not refer to a goat. But although Ajay has one meaning as goat, uh, but here the word Ajay refers to the unborn. That specific class characterized as pertaining to the state of birthlessness is also indicated. Ajam Ekam Lokita Shukla Krishna. Statement. Yeah, I think I have to go through it once more. Ajam Ekam Lokisha Shukla Krishna Ityadishu Ajayamatva Lakshana Jatischa Drishyate Eva Tata Namadi Kalpana Na Vidyante Ityuktva Swayam Krishnadi Namakalpamuktir Viruddha Syat Kalpanaya Va Katham Idyatasya.
It's okay, Prabhu. We can refer later also.
I'll once go through this shloka again little later.
Yeah. No problem.
So, but the other point is that Vishnu Puran says that the conceptualizations of name, jati, class, etc., they do not exist in the Bhagavan. Vishnu Puran states. At the same time, it is said that Bhagavan is worshipped by names such as Krishna, Achyuta, Ananta, etc. So how do we reconcile the contradiction? The contradiction is reconciled by saying that these names are eternal. They existed even before the conceptualization. Similarly, the Leelas of Bhagavan, they are eternal. They existed even before the conceptualization. And these Leelas, names and gunas of Bhagavan, they are manifestations of his eternal Chit Shakti, his internal energy. So going ahead, so we read this verse, Vishuddha Vijnana Ganam Swasamstaya. So after that, Tatascha Yato Yasmat Sarvasyapi Drishtasya Vastunaha Kalpanam Namadi Rachana Mritedi Adigamo Vyavaharika bodho na bhavati. Empirical knowledge of all perceptible objects cannot occur within a classification of names and so on. For this reason, the self-existent Lord, fully comprehending the nature of material names and their corresponding objects, is worshipped instead through self-existent celebrated names such as Krishna by the sages and the Vedas. So here it's explained that यस्मात् सर्वस्यापि दृष्टस्य वस्तुनः कल्पना नामादि रचनामृते अधिगमो व्यवहारिक बोधो न भवति. Even all the objects, all the empirical objects in this world, they cannot occur without a classification of names. Any empirical object, any padartha which we see in this world, they can be classified in some category. For example, Nyaya Shastra talks about the Sapta Padartha. One second. So Nyaya Shastra talks about Sapta Padartha. So everything in this world can be classified within this one of these 7 categories, Padartha. So anything which is perceptible, that means it has to be classified under a particular name. It has to be classified under a particular jati. And then he says that tasmat tatas tasmadeva hetoho kalpanamayam nama tan naminam cha artham sarvam avajnaya nikila pramana paricheda agocharatvena vedatmataya swatah siddhaihi कृष्णादि नामोपलक्षणैः प्रसिद्धेरेव नामभिः स्वतः सिद्धत्वम् एव ईड्यसे मुनिभिर्वेदैश्च श्लाघ्यसे. So for this reason, because every empirical object in this world, it has to be classified under a particular name. And tasmat, therefore, for this reason, the Bhagavan is Swataha Siddha, the self-existent Lord. Swataha Siddha means self-existent means he is not dependent on something else. Just like Swaprakasha. Swaprakasha means some object in this world. In order to understand that object, we need the help of another light. So therefore, that any object such as a table or a pen or something, we are able to perceive that because there is a sunlight or a tube light. But Swaprakasha means that object which does not need to be known with the help of the illumination coming from another object. Similarly, Lord is called as Swataha Siddha, the self-existent Lord, fully comprehending the nature of material names and their corresponding objects, is worshipped instead through self-existent celebrated names such as Krishna by the sages and the Vedas. So in the visible world, whatever perceivable objects, they are all classified in a particular name, category, jati. But in the case of Bhagavan, Bhagavan is Swataha Siddha. And that Bhagavan is worshipped by using certain names. And those names are also Swataha Siddha. They are also self-existent. If the Bhagavan is worshipped by the names which belong to the categories of this world, then Bhagavan should be perceivable with our material senses. Because only those things which are empirical, which are perceivable with our material senses, we classify them within the Sapta Padarthas. But Bhagavan is incomprehensible to our material senses. And he is Swataka Siddha, he is self-existent. And therefore, the names which we use to worship his names, they are also self-existent. And example of such a self-existent name is Krishna. And these names are referred by the sages and the Vedas. And these self-existent names constitute the Vedas. And these names transcend all the material names and their corresponding objects. And they are imperceptible by any means of acquiring knowledge. So therefore, the conclusion is that Natu Kalpana, Natu Kalpanama, Kalpanamayir, Anyais Twamapi Shlagyase. Therefore, Lord is not glorified by the manufactured names. Or in other words, he is not glorified by names that are a product of conceptualization. Only transcendental names with the above characteristics can manifest the Lord's glory. Tadrisha mahimabis taireva tava mahima vyakti bhavati iti. So the theme of this anuccheda is that Lord's names are also transcendental. Because the Lord is Swataka Siddha, whatever names which are described in the Vedas to worship that Supreme Lord, they are also Swataka Siddha. Lord cannot be, Bhagavan cannot be described by using certain manufactured names. Natu kalpanam yair anyais tvamapi shlagyase. So Bhagavan can be only the transcendental names with the above characteristics can manifest the Lord's glory. Further, Yadva. Yadva means he is giving an alternative meaning. Taireva idyase vyaktam vyakta mahatmi kriyasa iti. Atra yaihi shastre apratiprasiddhaihi Shri Bhagavaneva jhatiti pratito bhavati. Yesham cha sanketyadavapi tadrisha prabhavah shruyate. Tesham swataha siddhatvam anyesham kalpanamayatvam jneyam. What is the meaning? Alternatively, the word EDSA in the Vishnu Puran verse can also mean that the Lord manifests his glory through these names. It should be understood that only those names that are celebrated in the scripture, yaihi shastre ati prasiddhaihi Shri Bhagavaneva jatiti pratito bhavati. Those names which are celebrated in the scripture that invoke jatiti, instant remembrance of the Lord, and that manifest their potency, even if chanted incidentally, they are to be considered self-existent. So beautiful. Shri Bhagavaneva jatiti pratito bhavati. Those names by which instantly Bhagavan is remembered. and yesham cha sanketyadavapi tadrisha prabhavah shruyate. Sanketyada, you know that there is a shloka in the Bhagavatam in which 4 types of namabhasa chanting is described. Sanketyam, Parihasyam va, Stobam, Helanam eva va, Vaikuntat, Namagrahanam, Asheshaga Haram Vidu. Even if a person chants the Lord's holy names by indicating somebody else, Sanketya, or in a joking manner, or while doing a musical concert, or in a derisive manner, still one can be purified of the sins. So the Sanket Yadav is mentioned. That means even if a person chants these celebrated names of the Lord, celebrated names of the Lord, incidentally, and that manifests their potency, even if chanted incidentally. That means even if you chant the holy names by one of these 4 methods, Sanketya, Parikasya, Stoba, or Helena, but still these names manifest their potency. And that is what happened in the case of Ajamil. Ajamil chanted the holy name by thinking of his son Narayan. That's an example of a Sanketya, Namabhasa chanting. But still, the potency of the names was manifest because Ajamil was supposed to go to hell. But because he chanted the holy name in Namabhasa, his sins were completely removed. And therefore, the Yamadutas were stopped with the Vishnu Dutas. And all other names are a product of thought construction. All anyesham kalpanam kalpana mayatvam yayam. Other names are products of thought construction. But those names which are described in the Shastra, by which one gets instant remembrance of the Lord, and by chanting which the potency of the name is experienced, even when a person chants those names incidentally, that means in a namabhasa, such names are the swataka siddha. Other names are actually product of construction. Other names are product of actually imagination. Is it understandable?
Yeah, Prabhu, very well.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry, but you're reading for 47.2, right?
47.2.
From the
47, no, 47.3.
3. Oh, okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
In the PDF file where the Devanagari is there, the 47.123 like that, it is not classified. 47 only is mentioned, but in the translation, they have divided the 47th Anucheda into 6-7 parts, 47.1, 47.2 like that. But in the PDF file, which contains the original Devanagari, in that the 47th Anucheda is not divided into subparts. It is coming continuously.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
So, where are we? Okay.
Prabhuji, very well. I'm sorry for my lack of understanding, but I'm not getting the basic point. The names of Lord, are they true or they are like imagined? That is that what we are contesting in this particular Anucheda?
Yeah, that is
And
the.
by what logic we can contest it? I'm not. I'm trying to understand every verse, but I'm not able to get it.
Yeah, the main theme of this Anucheda is that this part of the Anucheda is the names of the Supreme Lord, they are actually eternal.
Right.
And they are not actually some product of thought construction. That means they are not product of some imagination. That is the main theme of this anuccheda. How it is being explained is that, so he quoted some verses from the Vishnu Purana, which says that Bhagavan is Anama, nameless.
Right.
Bhagavan is called as Arupa, formless. But at the same time, other verses from Vishnu Purana stated that the Lord does not belong to any thought construction. He cannot be put within a particular category of a name or a jati or any particular category. And in the same Vishnu Purana verse also stated that Bhagavan is worshipped by the names such as Krishna, Achyuta, Rama, Ananta.
Right.
Like that it is explained. So then one may say that means, okay, these names Krishna, Nama, Rama, Achyuta, so these names must be some imaginary names, because it's already stated that Bhagavan is not a product of certain thought construction. He cannot be put under particular category, class, etc. At the same time, it is worshipped with these names. Then if one says that, okay, these names are imaginary names, then the verse says that he is worshipped with these names. So how can we worship somebody with an imaginary name? One cannot be, he cannot be worshipped with some imaginary names. So therefore, he is reconciling by saying that actually these names, when we say that Bhagavan is not subject to certain conceptualization, at the same time he has these names. That means these names existed before the process of conceptualization started.
Right. And we don't really see any major pramana as assumed here, right? That this is the original place where we are seeing Lord manifesting himself, and he is saying that this is my name. Because I'm just referring to endless number of names that Krishna has, and each one is transcendental, each one is same. It's not, we cannot really, by Leela, we cannot really differentiate it actually. But here we are very much contesting the name itself. So I'm just concerned because we can't be doing that, isn't it? I mean, I just look at from the references. There is no one reference. The name has come to us. That's how I see it.
Or we can say another simple or another example. With this example I gave previously, for example, when we say Ramesh is eating Ramesh does not eat in the daytime. Another statement, Ramesh's weight is increasing. So both these statements are contradictory. So similarly, when we say that Bhagavan, absolute truth is that person in whom the conceptualizations of names, forms, they do not exist. That means he does not have name, jati, form, etc. This is one statement in the Shastra. And then another statement in the Shastra says that he is worshipped with names such as Krishna, Achyuta, Rama, Ananta. So both these statements are contradictory, just like the statement Ramesh does not eat in the daytime and Ramesh's weight is increasing.
Right.
So we have to give an explanation to this contradiction without rejecting any of the statement, because statements of the scriptures, they have to be accepted. You cannot reject some statement or accept only one part of the statement. So then we give a reconciling statement. Ramesh is eating in the night time. So similarly, Jiva Goswami is giving a reconciliation. It means that there is no conceptualization in regard to the name Krishna indicates that the name Krishna existed prior to the act of naming or mental assignation.
Right.
The name Krishna existed even before that, even before the creation. That means that his names are eternally there in the spiritual world. When we say there is no kalpana in regards to Krishna's Leela, it indicates that his existence transcends all categorization. So that is how he is reconciling.
Right. Understand.
And then he is giving a pramana from the Bhagavatam by saying that how Krishna's name, his Leela, they all belong to his eternal potency of his essential nature. That is the 10.37.23 that pramana is quoted.
Right.
And then he says that these names mentioned in the Shastras, they are actually Swataka Siddha, they are self-existent. They are self-existent. And these names, the Lord manifests his glory through these names. And only those names that are celebrated in the scripture, they invoke instant remembrance of the Lord. And they also manifest their potency even when a person chants those names as Sanketya, Parihasya, Stoba, or Kelana. So that is the power of these Swataha Siddha names mentioned in the Shastra. They manifest their power even when a person chants in the Namabhasa. Other names are a product of thought construction. Other names are a product of imagination.
Understand. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So then we will at least complete this part of the anuccheda. Then further he says, Atava, he is giving alternative meaning. He Nath, Yatra Nama Jatyadinam Kalpana na Vidyante. Tat Kevalam Visheshya Rupam Paramam Brahma Bhavan. So an alternative explanation is as follows. Last paragraph. O Lord, your unqualified feature in which there are no conceptualizations of names and classes is called Parabrahman. So he is giving another alternative explanation. So when we say Anama, Arupa, etc., these words can also refer to the Brahman feature of the Absolute Truth. Nama Jatyadinam, Yatra Nama Jatyadinam Kalpana na Vidyante. Where the Nama, Jati, etc., they do not exist. Tat Kevalam Visheshya Rupam Paramam Brahma Bhavan. So that is referring to those statements refer to the impersonal aspect of the Absolute Truth. So Tattat Kalpanaya Avishayatve Hetuhu. Tattat Kalpanaya Avishayatve Hetuhu. Visheshena Karoti Leelayata iti Vikari Tatana Bhavati it Avikari iti. So the reason for the absence of such conceptualizations is that in the Brahman there are no pastimes. In the impersonal Brahman there are no pastimes. Vikari means one who acts in a unique way, that is engages in pastimes. So Brahman does not manifest form, and therefore Brahman is addressed as Aja, unborn. On what basis then can Brahman be conceptualized in terms of name or class? On what basis then can Brahman be This is the import. So he is giving an alternative explanation that the Anama, Arupa, of the Bhagavan, absolute truth does not belong to a jati, name, form, etc. So these statements can also be explained as referring to the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. तद्रूपेण न जायते न प्रकटीभवति इति हे अजा इति च ततः किम् अवलम्ब्य तत्र नामजात्यादि कल्पनाः क्रियान्तमिति भावः. So that is the paragraph which we read, that on what basis can Brahman be conceptualized in terms of name or class. This is the import. Then further going ahead, tattat kalpanam vinacha सर्वस्य अपि अर्थस्य वस्तुमात्रस्य अधिगममात्रं न भवेत् किमुत तादृश ब्रह्मस्वरूपस्य भवतः. So without conceptualization of name and category, there is no possibility of understanding anything about any object whatsoever. So what to speak of you, whose form is Brahman as described above. So in this world, you cannot understand any object unless you describe that object as, oh, this object belongs to this animal, or this object belongs to this type of bird. Without a name and a category, there is no possibility of understanding any object. So what to speak of you, whose form is Brahman as described above. So kalpana, kalpanam ayanama jatyadayastu न कस्यापि स्वरूपधर्मा भवन्ति यत एवं ततः सांकेत्यादिना भावितैरपि भवत् भवत् वत्सर भवत् भवत् भवद्वत् सर्वपुरुषार्थ प्रदैस् तत्तद् आदि विशेष प्रतिपादकैः कृष्णादि नामभिरेव त्वम् ईड्यसे नित्य सिद्ध श्रुति पुराणादिभिः श्लाघ्यसे न तु निर्विशेषता प्रतिपादकैर् नितरां कल्पनामयैर् इत्यर्थः. This is the translation. So without conceptualization of name and category, there is no possibility of understanding anything about any object whatsoever. So what to speak of you, whose form is Brahman as described above. So conceptualized names and categories cannot convey the natural characteristics of any object. Therefore, you are worshipped only through names such as Krishna that establish some specific quality in you and are capable of granting all human goals, just as you are, even if remembered only incidentally. And as you are glorified by the eternally existing Vedas, Puranas, and so on, but you are not worshipped by merely conceptualized names that attempt to depict your unqualified feature. So the conceptualized names and categories cannot convey the natural characteristics of any object. Like for example, in this world, suppose we may give a particular name, suppose a particular person, Padma Lochana, like that we give a name. But it may be possible that the person is actually born blind, but is named as Padma Lochana, because we have named the person according to our imagination, Padma Lochana, like that we give the name. So the conceptualized name, it is not giving the natural characteristic of that particular object. That person is blind, but we are calling as Padma Lochana. But in the case of Krishna's names, they actually Krishna's name contains within that Krishna's name contain actually it indicates Krishna's qualities also. Krishna's name is not different from Krishna, so it definitely conveys the natural characteristics of the Krishna, who is all attractive. But that is not true in the case of the names which refer to different objects in this world. So, and Krishna's names are capable of granting all the human goals, just as you are, even if remembered only incidentally. Just like the person Krishna, when he is remembered even incidentally, he is capable of granting all the goals. Similarly, Krishna's name is also capable of granting all the human goals. So therefore, Jiva Goswami says that Bhagavan is not worshipped by merely certain conceptualized imaginary names, which attempt to depict his unqualified feature. Rather, he is actually worshipped by his eternal names, which are self-perfect, which are swataha siddha. Further, he says, Kintu Krishnadinam Chaturnam Namnam Upalakshanatvam Nyayam Narayanadi Namnam Api Sanketyadau Tata Prabhava Shravanat. So these four names beginning with Krishna are indicative of all other names. So in that Vishnu Purana verse, four names are indicated. Krishna, Achyuta, Ananta and Vishnu. So whatever Siddhanta which has been told so far about Krishna's name, this Siddhanta applies not only to these four names, Krishna, Rama, Achyuta and Vishnu. The same Siddhanta applies to all other names of Krishna. They are indicative of, just like suppose the word which is used here is that Upalakshanatvam Nyayam. Kintu Krishnadinam Chaturnam Namna Upalakshanatvam Nyayam. Just like suppose in the terrace, the mother has dried certain rice. Suppose sometimes they make this triumphs in the childhood. So they keep it in the terrace for drying in the sunlight. The mother has told the son, you see to it that the monkey does not come and eat it. And then the son is protecting it from the monkey. And then after some time, mother comes and sees that everything is actually eaten away. And then the mother asks the child, oh, did he not protect this thing from the monkey? The child says that, oh, I protected it from the monkey. I did not allow any monkey to eat it. But then there are some crows which came and the crows ate it. So therefore, only this much is remaining. The mother says, when I said that protect it from the monkeys, by that it indicates, it is implied that you protect it from all other animals also. That is called as Upalakshana. So similarly, whatever Siddhanta which is being told so far in relation to these four names, Krishna, Achyuta, Ananta and Vishnu, they are also indicative of all other names. Other names like Narayana, even if chanted incidentally, they are also seen to have the same effect. Because the names like Narayana, they are also celebrated names of the Lord in the scriptures. And then further says, he's quoting Brahma Sutra. Varna evatu shabda iti Bhagavan upavarshaha ityanena tasya cha nityatvat. Brahma Sutra 2.4.17. Ityanena cha nyayena varnatayaiva nityatvamayasya veda sara varnatmaka namnaha siddhyati. So according to the rule, the great sage Upavarsha says, a letter is a word. Varna evatu shabda. A letter is a word. Iti Bhagavan Upavarsha. There is a sage called as Upavarsha. He says that a letter is a word. And according to Vedanta Sutra, a letter is eternal. It is concluded that the holy name, which is the essence of the Vedas and consists of letters, is eternal in each of its letters. So now he is quoting another line of reasoning based on some sage Upavarsha who says a letter, a varna is a shabda. And according to the Vedanta Sutra, a letter is eternal. So based on these pramana, he is driving the same point that the holy name of Bhagavan is also eternal in each of its letters, because every letter of the holy name is eternal. And then he is quoting Gopala Tapani Upanishad. Tataiva Gopala Tapani Shrutau Namamaya Ashtadashakshara Prasange Brahma Vakyam Teshvakshareshu Bhavishyat Jagadrupam Prakashayan Iti. So in the Gopala Tapani Upanishad, wherein the 18-syllable mantra consists of the Lord's name is described. In that connection, Brahma is making a statement. While manifesting the future universe in those letters. This is the Brahma statement. That Teshu Akshareshu Bhavishyat Jagadrupam Prakashayan. Not a complete sentence, part of a sentence. Bhavishyat Jagadrupam, in the future, while manifesting the universe. Teshu Akshareshu, while manifesting the future universe in those letters, Teshu Akshareshu. So, and then he says that Atra Avarakala Jata Shabdadimaya Jagat Karanatvena Tad Vailakshanyat Swatah Siddhatvam Tata Bhagavat Swarupa Binnatvam Cha Tad Vailakshanyam Namnaha. So, thus the Lord's names are self-existent because they are distinct from ordinary sound, being the cause of the universe consisting of material elements such as sound, which come into existence only later on. And because the Lord's name is non-different from his form, it is distinct from the material sound. So here he is giving another reasoning based on the Gopala Tapani Upanishad to show that how the Lord's names are different from the material sound vibration. So what is the reasoning here? In the Gopala Tapani Upanishad, it is mentioned that while manifesting the future universe in those letters. So by chanting the certain names, the universe is manifested. So this itself shows, that means those holy names are cause of the manifestation of the universe. So this shows that the holy names are distinct from the ordinary sound, because the holy names are cause of the manifestation of the universe. The universe consists of all the material elements. So in this world, can you manifest something? Can you manifest a building by just uttering a particular word? Just by uttering certain word, cement, makan, like that, you cannot manifest a particular building. But Gopalata Upanishad says that by chanting the Ashtakshara mantra, the manifestation of the universe happened. So this shows that these names are very different from the ordinary sound. And because the Lord's name is non-different from his form, it is distinct from the material sound. In the material sound, when we say Ramesh, the word Ramesh, the sound vibration, and the person Ramesh are different. But that is not the case in the respect of the Supreme Lord. He is non-different from his name. And then he quotes a verse from the Rig Veda. We are already 12:20. So just one page is there. I think we'll quickly complete it. So Rig Veda, Om Asya Jananto Nama Chid Viviktana Mahaste Vishnu Sumatim Bajamage. Om Tatsat. Ayam Artha. He Vishnu, Te Tava Nama Chit Chit Swarupam. Atayeva Mahaswaprakasha Rupam. Tasmad Asya Namnaha A Ishadapi Janantaha. So the Rig Veda is that, O Sri Vishnu, by chanting your name, which is conscious and glorious, we who have little knowledge about the name attain true insight. And this name is eternal. The meaning of the mantra is as follows. O Sri Vishnu, your name is conscious, Chit, or it is consciousness, and is therefore self-effulgent in nature. So even though we have but partial knowledge of the eternal nature of your name, meaning that we are not endowed with complete understanding of the glory of the proper chanting, yet simply by repeating the syllables, we can attain true insight. Or in other words, we can attain authentic knowledge of you. Therefore, the entity expressed by Om, which is you, is self-existent. So here we see the Rig Veda mantra, it is said that actually, even though we have little knowledge, we don't have complete knowledge about the glory of your holy name, but still when we repeat your names, we obtain complete insight. Natu samyak uchara mahatmyadi puraskarayana tatapi vivaktana bruvanaha kevalam tad aksharabhyasa matram kurvanaha sumatim tad vishayam vidyam bajamahe prapnumaha yatas tadeva pranava vyanjitam vastu tat swatah siddhamati. So therefore the pranava, the omkara, that is self-existent, that Bhagavan is non-different from the pranava. And then he quotes 4 more quotations. Atayeva Bayad Dveshadau Srimurtehe Spurte Riva Sanketyadav Apyasva Muktidatvam Shruyate. It is seen that the name liberates a person even if simply alluded to, just as the form of the Lord springs to mind when overcome by fear or envy of him. So, even if somebody chants the holy name with the Namabhasa, the name liberates a person. Even when a person remembers the form of the Lord out of fear or out of envy, the form of the Lord comes to one's mind. And this is stated in the Brahma Purana. Apyanyachitta kruddho va yassada kirtayedharim sopi baddakshayan muktim labe chedipatir yata. If one continuously chants Sri Hari's name, even in a state of mental agitation or anger, he will definitely become free from bondage and attain liberation, as did Shishupal, the king of Chedi. And then further it is stated, Tata Shri Bhagavata Iva Tasya Namnaha Sakridapi Sakshatkaraha Samsara Dvamsako Bhavati. From Skanda Puran it is quoted that even directly contacts the holy name even once his material existence is destroyed, exactly as if he had witnessed the Lord directly. And this is stated in the Skanda Puran, Vishnu Kanda. Sakruducharitam yena harirityaksharaddvayam baddha parikarastena mokshaya gamanam prati. One who has chanted the syllables Hari even once readies himself for the journey to liberation. For the journey to liberation. And then finally, Shrutaucha Pranavamuddishya Om Ityetat Brahmano Nedishtam Nama Yasmad Ucharyamana Eva Sansara Bayat Tarayati Tasmad Uchyate Taraha Ityadi Bahutaram. Shruti also, in referring to the syllable Om, states that Om is the most accessible name of the Lord. It is called Tara because it carries the chanter across the fear of material bondage. In this way, the name has innumerable glories. So, in this particular part of the Anuccheda, Jiva Goswami verifies that Krishna's names are also spiritual. I quickly go through the purport, some important points, then we'll end. So, in the beginning of this part of the Anuccheda, the Bhagavan is called as Anama. But why is called as Anama? Because he has no material names. In this world, when somebody is born, one is given a particular designation, name, caste, etc. But all these things are material. And as long as only the body remains, these designations remain. But Lord's birth is transcendental and eternal, which was already shown previously. And following that, Jiva Goswami wants to show that his names are also eternal. So the names found in the Vedic mantras are eternal, and his form is eternal. And the Nyaya school of logic concludes that the attributes of eternal substance are also eternal. So his form is eternal. Nyaya school says that any eternal substance, the attributes are also eternal. So therefore, the Lord's name and other attributes are eternal manifestations of his internal potency. So, in fact, Bhagavan is the one who has given names to all objects which are created by him. So in the Manusmriti, it is mentioned that knowledge of the names of various objects and the respective duties of the various people was obtained by Brahma from the words of the Vedas, and then Brahma propagated the classifications of names and duties. So Krishna is the Vedanta Krit and he spoke the Vedas to Brahma. And the names and classes which are assigned to the people of this world, they are not part of their essential nature. They can be modified, they can be replaced by new names. And they serve only for certain vyavahara, for the empirical dealings. Even a fool can be called as Pandita Shiromani, a blind man called as Padma Lochana. But so there is no factual relation between the name and the essential characteristics of the person. But that is not the case in the case of the Supreme Lord. In the case of Supreme Lord, his name contains the complete potency of Krishna, and that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Shikshashtakam. Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamitaha Smaranena Kalaha. And this fact can be realized by chanting the Lord's name, but without the offense. Without the offense, when we chant, we can actually practically realize how the Lord's complete potency is manifest in his names. So, Lord's names also may convey a certain attribute like Ganashyama, Giridhari, or it may convey a certain Leela enacted by him. Because he is inherently self-endowed with the transcendental qualities and eternally performs a certain Leelas, there is no need for him to be assigned merely conceptualized names that are incapable of reflecting his true nature. So usually after the child's birth, different brahmanas would be invited and they would be told to prepare the horoscope, and then they would be told to assign appropriate names. So we see that in the Bhagavatam. So this is the reason why the names in the Vedic literature so precisely match the character of those they designate. The correspondence is so close. In fact, that it leads skeptics to interpret the stories as mere fable. So usually in the scriptures, when we see the names, those names are given by the Brahmanas by seeing the astrological chart. So therefore, those names exactly describe the particular quality exhibited by the person. Sometimes people see how can it be so, they can be given the same name. Therefore, they say that these stories are some imaginary stories, mythological stories. And then Jiva Goswami also quoted that according to the Vedic authorities, even the letters have a transcendental potency. So in the Mimamsa Sutra, it is said that Nityastu Syat Darshanasya Parartatvat. Words are certainly eternal, their pronunciation conveys meaning to others. And then he quoted the Upavarsha, a great Mimamsaka, says that every letter is a word. Therefore, letters are also eternal. And that is why the letters in Sanskrit, they are called as Akshara. Akshara means imperishable. So Akshara is eternal. Every letter is a Shabda. So if words are considered eternal, that means the constituent parts of the words, they are also eternal. Again, logic dictates that it is not possible to have an eternal object with a temporary components. Because what is not in the cause cannot be in the effect. So if the words are eternal, then the letters must also be eternal. So according to Sri Krishna in the Bhagavatam 11th canto, words are a manifestation of Brahman. 11.12.17. The Supreme Lord supplies life to all, reveals himself in the chakras of the human body, and having entered the Mooladhara chakra with the sonant prana, he manifests himself in a gross form consisting of vowels, accent, and consonants. So the words are a manifestations of the Brahman. And a similar opinion is also given by grammarians like Panini. So then somebody may raise an objection that the words are spoken with the help of our vocal cords, the tongue, palate, lips, etc. And then once we speak the words are lost immediately. So then how can we say the words are eternal? So actually the acharyas give the answer. Actually, it is not that the tongue, mouth and the different vocal cords, they create the words. They simply, the words are eternally present, but these instruments, they pronounce them and they convey them to others. Words exist eternally, and the action of speech only makes them audible. The speech can be compared to the light that makes objects in a dark room visible. The light in the dark room does not create the objects. It simply makes the objects visible. Similarly, the words are eternally existing, and our vocal cord simply makes those words audible. So similarly, the holy name of the Lord is certainly eternal, being non-different from him. And then Jiva Goswami quotes verses from the Vedas and Puranas to establish the conscious nature of the name. So Shabda is the only pramana adequate to ascertain knowledge of the reality that underlies and transcends material nature. So Shukdev Goswami has clearly explained the glories of the holy name in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the story of Ajamal. The holy name can liberate a person even if chanted incidentally, since an object's power does not depend on the knowledge of its user. Vastu Shaktir nahi buddhim apekshate. Fire will manifest its power even if a person does not know it is a fire. And then he quotes verses from the same Ajamil section. Medicine manifests its power even if a person does not know the power of the medicine. Fire manifests its power even if a person does not know it is fire. So this part of the Anucheda is talking about how the holy names are also eternal and transcendental. And the next part of the Anucheda also is continuing on the same thing, how the holy names are transcendental and pure. But he is quoting other references which talk about the considering the glories of the holy name to be imagination. That we'll see next time. If anybody has any comments or anything which is not understandable, then we'll go through that again.
Prabhuji, this
Yes.
this notes was previously available in the desire tree. Like the Anucheda was divided into 2-3 sections. But presently, what that notes are available, this is another one. It's not that same one, which I have. I have taken a printout of that. But earlier, these sections were available. The different notes was available. Of course, the content is same, but that the words are different. That it is contexted in a different way, arranged in a different way. So, can you post it in the WhatsApp? This thing that
This
notes.
file, no, this
Yeah.
file which see, I can send you this file actually. You can. This is I think EPUB or some particular file. EPUB or mobile file, MOBI. This can be opened with the help of either Kindle reader or any other some other app which can be. If you see the extension of the file, then if you search apps to open this particular file, either Kindle or some other options will come. And with that, you can open this file and then read the particular Anucheda and then revise what we went through.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't want to put it in the group because actually this this file I bought it from the publisher, and they sell it. They maintain their mata by selling books.
No.
If
I'm
it
not.
becomes openly put it in the group, so then it will just spread in this one. So those who are attending the course, for them I can share.
No, Prabhuji, I'm not talking about that Devanagari file. What you are talking?
No,
I am
this
talking about
English translation. That's
English translation, which was there in the desire tree. Now it is not there.
Now it is not there.
Now it is not there. There is another. There were two notes were there. One is this, and another one is the other one. And this is now it is removed from desire tree.
Achha. I don't know. The one which I'm sharing in the screen.
That is, yeah, that English one. English one. Yeah.
English one.
Yes.
This I can share with you.
Yeah. This you can share.
File. And
yes,
you have this is not a Word file. You have to open. Like I have opened using the Kindle software.
Okay.
You have to open using Kindle or some other software, which is freely available on the some particular app.
Okay, Prabhu. I'll take that.
47th Anucheda, 47.3 we have completed. So, anybody, anything, what do you want to say?
Prabhuji, this particular shloka, Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Satra Arpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala, that the Lord has invested all his energies in its name, his name. So, how does this context fit in? Where exactly it will fit there? The Lord has invested his energies. Also, it's a timeless. How does it this thing? And again, the Krishna has disappeared from this world. He has come in the form of a Bhagavatam. So that name form both.
No, the context of what he is explaining is that in the case of the objects in the material world, the name which we assign to refer to a particular object, that name does not contain the potency of that object.
Correct.
If I say atom bomb or a nuclear bomb, the name, the nuclear bomb, this name does not contain the potency of the nuclear bomb. The name is simply used to refer to that object nuclear bomb. But when I say the name Rama, Krishna, Hare, it actually contains the complete potency of Krishna. So therefore, these names, Hare, Krishna, and Rama, it is completely different from the material name. One may say that it's completely different from the material name. Another reasoning which was given is that according to even the Mimamsaka, this one, all the letters are eternal. Therefore, all the words are eternal. But then one may give an objection. But then if you are saying words are eternal, but once I utter a particular word and then the word disappears. So it seems it is it's not eternal, it is temporary. If I say Ramesh, now I completed chanting Ramesh, so now it is disappeared. So how you say the words are eternal? So he says that no, actually these vocal cords, this one, the words are eternal. These vocal cords simply help to manifest that eternal sound. Just like suppose in a dark room, different objects are there. When you switch on the light, those objects are not created, but those objects are made visible. So similarly, even the words are also eternal. So Bhagavan's names are also eternal. And in the case of the Bhagavan's names actually contain the complete potency of Bhagavan, which is not the case in the case of the material sound. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So we'll stop here. Thank you for your patience. We'll continue next week.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.